welcome to episode 10 of the Stringing It Together podcast. Episode 10, we are in double digits. That's cray. But I guess we're now official, like being official. Okay, anyway, I am your host, Becky. Thank you so much for joining me today. So we do have a couple of new subscribers, so welcome to all of you, and thank you for coming to check me out if you are new. And if you're returning, welcome back, and thank you for coming back for a little bit of my craziness. So yeah, I'm coming to you from my home in Frankfurt, Germany, where I live with my two cats, one of which just walked in, so maybe she'll make an appearance at some point. She looks a little sleepy. Hi, sweetie. You want to come here? Come here. Anyway, I am operating today without show notes. It's going to be a trip. Okay, so you can find me on social media as sopranoknits. That's where I am on Instagram, and that's where I'm most active, so come join me over there. And I'm also sopranoknits on Ravelry, and we have a Ravelry group called the Stringing It Together podcast group, so you can just search for us in the groups tab and come over and join the fun. We do have a knit along going, and that is being hosted over in the group. It is called the SWATCHSTUDIO Cal, and it is still running until December 10th, so you have plenty of time to join. The SWATCHSTUDIO Cal is being co-hosted by the fabulous Frenchie of Aroha Knits, and it includes patterns by new designers who are just getting started, and we are going to support them and knit their stuff and yeah, just have fun knitting some new patterns. I do have a pattern in there, as I've mentioned before. It's called the Red Herring Hat, and I'm going to try to get this up tonight before this runs out. There are some, throughout the duration of the knit along, which again goes until December 10th, there are some discount codes that people have offered on their patterns, which are, all the information is in the Ravelry group. But as part of the general amazing knitting community, Knitters Pay It Forward thing that has been going on this week, I am currently offering the pattern, the Red Herring Hat pattern for €1, which depending on how bad the dollar is tanking on any particular day. Yesterday it was $1.12. So still pretty cheap. So that was going until midnight tonight. I think Central US time. I think that's what my Ravelry is running under. I hope so. So today's Friday, what is today? The 11th. So if you're able to get that, great. Otherwise, it's on sale for 20% off, and the code is, I think it's SWATCHSTUDIO Cal, or SWATCHSTUDIO 16 or something like that. Oh my gosh. I'll try to put it up here if I can remember it. So great. It's over in the Ravelry group. Speaking of show notes and things, I didn't do show notes for the last episode. I don't remember if I did them for previous episodes. I try to be pretty good about putting the information on the screen of what I'm talking about. And therefore, I sometimes feel like linking show notes in the Ravelry group is somewhat redundant, but I'm not sure. Do you guys use them? Do you want them? I don't know. Tell me what you want. So let's get started. Maybe my cat was going to come up. No, she's not. Oh, I'm drinking Earl Grey tea. I love Earl Grey tea. It's great. It's great. Okay, so I do have two finished objects today, and I'll show you those. Okay, so the first is, I had a hoe last time and most of a second sock, so those are now both finished. Ta-da! Yay! So I'm calling these my Winter Island socks because it's a Regia Arnie and Carlos colorway called Island, and it's soon to be winter, and I think they look wintry with the white on them. I love how these turned out. I'm very happy about it. Yeah, I knit them on Hiya Sharps 9-inch circulars, US 1.5, which I believe is 2.25 millimeters. I put in a fish lips kiss heel and did a rounded toe on them. So yeah, so these are for me, and now I'll be able to wear them, although they just look so pristine. I love them. Yay. Okay, those are done. And my second finished object you have not seen because it was a new cast on since last time that I recorded, and it was also a test knit for Verena of the Wool Club, who you probably all have heard of, especially because of her fleecency hat pattern that has been very, very popular. And I had the pleasure of test knitting the fleecency mittens for her. So it is okay to show them, I know, and the pattern should be published tomorrow. So if you're not already, go and follow her over on Instagram as the Wool Club. So yeah, so these are the mittens. Oh my gosh, they are so cute. So yeah, it's got the great pattern that you should recognize from the hat, and kind of plain on the bottom, which is totally cool with me. And it has a double thick cuff. I had to do my first provisional cast on, which I had never done before, but it's great because it makes them super warm. Obviously I followed the pattern because it was a test knit. However, I did ask permission to make one little adjustment, which was I put a buttonhole in the thumb so that I can get my thumbs out and use my phone if I need to. Yeah, which is just nice to be able to do, because otherwise, yeah. Next time I knit mittens, I also have decided I would like to put a buttonhole right here, just in one of them, so that I can stick my pointer finger out, because I'm still finding with this that it's really hard if I'm reaching in my pocket for my keys or trying to pull out, like, you know, my transit card or something like that, that it would be nice to have a pinching action. But yeah, but I do like the buttonhole because then I can just whoop, pop it back over my thumb, and then my little thumb is warm. So yeah, I just put in a 6-stitch buttonhole, a couple of rows before the decreases for the end of the thumb. So it was not hard. You just cast off a couple stitches and then cast back on. So these are the fleecency mittens. They are beautiful, and I just knit them out of Regia, like 6-ply, and it's a sport weight. So yeah, the pattern does call for a sport weight yarn. I really like how they turned out. This is very budget yarn for me. And I'm also entering these in the Pumpkin Cal, which is being hosted by Joanna of Opera Joe. Wait, Joanna, Opera Joe, and then the stringing, no, that's my podcast, Stitching the High Notes podcast, and then also Gabby of the Once Upon a Corgi podcast. So that's exciting. Yay! Also, Gabby is test knitting my pattern, the Backline shawl. Oh, and I think I forgot to message you, Gabby, if you're watching, that she was like, Backlin? I don't know how to pronounce this. And I totally understand. It's in German. Backline is how you pronounce that. But yeah, if you're interested in looking at that, it's already up on Ravelry if you just search Backline, but it's not released yet. My testers are finishing it up and they're starting to, and it looks really beautiful and I'm excited. Yay! Second pattern out ever. So that's cool. Okay. Sue is on Periscope. I kind of want to finish. Pause. I'm going to do whips really quick and then maybe I'll pause and then come back and go watch Sue. Okay. Works in progress. I'll start with what I made the least progress on first. These are my, this is my project for the Swatch Studio Cal. It is my This Way Please socks by Rebecca Milton. And I did a couple of rows on them last night. I did not get very far. This is a little, well, I made it into a progress keeper because I don't have very many progress keepers. So this is a little tree stitch marker that Jenny of Lone Larch Design sent me with a project bag I ordered from her. So I made it into a stitch marker. And this is where I was last time. So like, it's a sock. I made no progress basically, but I just wanted to show it because it is part of that cal. I think part of my problem with it is that it's lace and it's not charted. And with lace, my brain just really works that way that I want to chart. So I'm thinking about writing it out myself. I don't have charting software yet. I really want it, but it's not in the budget. But yeah, I could maybe just do it on graph paper. Clearly it's not that, like, you know, it wouldn't take me that long to chart it. So I might just do that so that I can get cooking, because just reading the written instructions are just not how I prefer to knit lace. That's just me. Okay, that's done. And then this is kind of boring to be shown, I guess, but I am knitting another sock from the same ones that I finished. I have mentioned this before. From a 100-gram ball, if I use contrasting cuffs, heels, and toes, I can get 2 pairs of socks out of 100 grams. It's like just 2 pairs of socks, but I can do it. These are actually going to be for Nathan's mother, lovely mother. Okay, sorry, I'm back. I just ran out of space on my phone, and then Sue was on Periscope, and I decided to catch up with her. Anyway, okay, so this is the sock for Nathan's mom. I'm going to see them in London in a couple of weeks, and when I first made socks for Nathan, she was there when I gifted them to him, and she completely like lost her mind about how she wanted some. And she's a weaver, so she's very knitworthy, and I'm happy to do this, but they are on hold because I don't know how big her feet are. And she's a pretty petite lady, so I'm probably gonna have to rip back. I have a feeling that her feet are not as big as mine, but I just kind of suddenly was like, oh yeah, I'm not making these for myself. Yeah, so anyway, that's that. Oh, and I just remembered, I'm so disjointed, I forgot to tell you what I'm wearing, because I am wearing a sweater I knit. This is the Madewell sweater by Joji Locatelli. I'll kind of show you it. There's like these jeans have this like giant tag and this again. Okay, I'm not gonna show you that. I'm gonna cut that out, I hope. Okay, so this is the sweater. It has these fun elbow patches. Yeah, I've shown this before, but if you're new, that's what that is. It's the Madewell. I actually don't wear it that much. I don't know why. I don't know why. I should wear it more. Anywho, okay, so that is my second whip. I have not touched my Sizzle Pop. It is languishing. That's okay. I have gotten a lot of work done on, look at this project bag. Look at how full it is. It's bulging. It is bulging. Yeah, there's a giant sweater in here. Let's look at it, shall we? Okay, very large, very large. So, last time we spoke, I'm trying to find the top. Okay, it's a little bit hard to show at this point. So this is the back. This is where the sleeves are separated out. Oh, by the way, this is the Portage cardigan by Melissa, whose last name I can't pronounce, but I will put it down here. Yay! So last time I was here where my little dude is. So, yeah, last time I was there, I actually got too much into the groove of doing this pattern and I had to rip a couple inches out. I did too many extra. And I know that I could have kept going, but because of the way that they're like these weird pocket shaping things, I think that the ribbing really does need to be this length. And I didn't want it longer. It's already like a longer, like covering your butt pattern. So anyway, yeah, so I was here, I did all this ribbing, and then, okay, this was like a knitting fail. I had to do my first tubular bind off. Never done this before. If you guys haven't done this before, it's a sewn bind off, but it has a lot of steps, so it kind of takes freaking forever. Especially when you're doing this many stitches, you have to leave this super long tail and be like, sewing, pulling, 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 pulling. Sewing the next stitch, pulling, 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 pulling. I tried to do 2 at once and pull it through and it would get stuck and it was awful. But anyway, it's supposed to look nice. I don't know if you can see this. It's supposed to look like it just continues, like the knit stitches just kind of continue around the edge. And it does look like that on part of it. And then I got off somehow and I wasn't really paying attention. I was watching something. I wasn't really understanding how it was supposed to look because it was my first time. So in the middle, it doesn't look as beautiful and perfect. It looks more just like a normal bind off. And I'm kind of upset about it because I spent literally an hour and a half sewing this freaking bind off. And when you spend that much time doing something, and like I was not enjoying myself. It was not fun. And when you have that experience, I think that you want it to be perfect, and it's not. So I thought about ripping it out, but then I thought, like, probably no one's going to see it. It's going to be on my butt. Like, who's going to look at that? And plus the yarn, since it's a speckly yarn, hides it pretty well. So I don't know. I think I'm just going to leave it. I could decide to rip it out later. Yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, I finished the ribbing on the bottom, did that asshole bind off, and then I have picked up all of the stitches along the side, and I'm now knitting the, what is this called? You know, this thing, whatever this is. The band, the collar band, whatever. So of course you have to pick up all the stitches around the neck. I also really don't like picking up stitches. This week was kind of a week of knitting chores, like those things that you have to do in knitting, but they're not why you love knitting. Like this tubular bind off and picking up 300 stitches. And even, like, to be totally honest with you, like this double thing, the provisional cast on, didn't really enjoy that very much. But I mean, I like the finished products. I don't know. I was feeling lazy. My cat's doing something weird over there. Anyway, so I am about halfway done with this band. It needs to be really long. It calls for it being 6 inches of garter stitch, which when you have this many stitches, it's a lot, y'all. It's a lot. It's really giant. So this is the front of the sweater, but it just looks kind of funny because it's scrunched up on these needles right now. But guys, like, it's happening. It's gonna be a thing soon. Yay! Oh God, I want it. And I have to say too that a lot of people on Ravelry complained about this pattern on the back. It was a lot of twisted stitches and like mini cables basically. And they complained that they didn't really enjoy knitting it. I didn't mind knitting it, but it did take a while and was a little bit fiddly at times. But now that I'm just like, when I got into the ribbing, I just started realizing how much I love this yarn, which I have not mentioned, by the way, on this episode, that it is Madelinetosh, and it is the LONDRIDER DK, which is a base that she only sells on their website, so you won't find it in stores. And it has nylon in it. I'm not sure how much, 25% maybe, which actually I really like in a sweater because it's just going to be a little bit harder wearing and it will pill less easily. Like this sweater is also, it's out of sock yarn and there's not like a whole lot of pilling on it. There's of course a little bit like under the arms, but if I knit this out of 100% merino, it would be pilling more. But this is so soft. Like you do not know that there's nylon in it. It is so squishy. I love this yarn. So I'm really excited. So basically I have to do 3 more inches on the collar, then bind off. It's not a tubular bind off. It's like, it's some sort of sewn bind off, a different one. So hopefully it won't be as big of a pain in the ass. Yeah, so 3 more inches of that because it's gonna like fold over itself, and then I have to do this crap for the pockets and then knit the sleeves, which should be pretty speedy, I hope. So my goal of having this done by when I go to London, which is on the 26th, is possible. It's possible. If I keep knitting on it almost monogamously like I have been, well, other than these, which these didn't take long. I mean, they're mittens. I should be able to do it. The only problem is that it's so big that it like doesn't fit in this project bag, and it's sort of ridiculous to leave the house with, but I did take it to my knit night because that's fine, but you know, I'm not gonna like pull this out on the train. I'm just not. Anyway, that is it for works in progress. Okay, no show notes. What else do I have to talk about? I don't have any acquisitions at all. So that's good. Even my stash like looks a little smaller, which is good because I have 2 more skeins of this yarn that are out. Like this is what it looks like in the cake. Oh, and this is the Kitten colorway, but it's the particle series. So it's the Kitten colorway, but with black speckles in it. And I'm alternating every 2 rows. So I go down, I come back, I use the different ball because there is a lot of variation between them. They are hand dyed, I understand that, but I didn't do that at the beginning of the sweater. And you can definitely kind of tell, like this was all one skein and then suddenly I started alternating and there's a lot more black in it, but it doesn't really offend me. I don't actually care that much. It's okay. And plus this eventually is going to be folded over a lot, so I don't think it matters. I just don't, it's just knitting. So I'm starting to get really excited about the sweater. I went through a period where I was just sort of like, ho-hum, but I'm so excited. Ah! Okay, it'll be done soon. So anyway, no acquisitions. Yeah, what else do I have to talk about? Oh, podcasts. My friend Hannah, who's one of my friends from my knitting group, who is my neighbor, who I mentioned a couple episodes ago, she gave me a bunch of tea, which was nice. She started a podcast. I haven't watched it yet, but I know it's going to be awesome. She just posted it yesterday, so I'm not a bad friend. I'm going to put the information down here because I don't even know what she's calling it, but she has a lot of awesome tutorials on her YouTube channel, so you should definitely go and check her out. Her YouTube channel is like really nice. Real nice. And she's got blue hair and she's awesome. So she's just really gotten going with her knitting, and she crochets as well and does like amazing bead crafts and has started making beaded progress keepers and stitch markers and things. So go and check her out. I will put all of her information down here. She's awesome. That's the only one off the top of my head I can think of. So I think that's it for the knitting portion, and I'll just move on to life. So life, we all know about that one thing, and I'm not going to really go into that, but the only thing I have to say is just that I've been really, really grateful for the past couple of days for this community, and I know I'm not alone in feeling that way, that seeing all of the love on Instagram has really bolstered my spirits and restored my faith in humanity, and that's been really great. I cannot go on Facebook right now. It's too negative, and we need to stay in the happiness feeling. So thank all of you for being awesome. That's what I have to say about that. I also really want to thank people that got in touch with me about donating hand knit items or in other ways helping with the protests at Standing Rock against the Dakota Access Pipeline. Several people wrote to me and said, yes, thank you. This is something I'm passionate about, and I didn't know how to help. So I just think it's awesome that there is this direct way that our knitting can help something that is really important. So if you didn't see my last episode, I talked about it a little bit. My sister is in North Dakota protesting the Dakota Access Pipeline, which is an oil pipeline that's threatening the Missouri River, which is a clean water source for millions and millions of Americans. And they're also violating Native American treaties in order to, like, they're building on their land, which is not okay at all. So anyway, if you wanted to knit anything and send it their way or donate in another way, I will again link that stuff in the down bar so that you know how to help if you want to. Other than that, it's been kind of business as usual over here. Oh, but Nathan did come and visit. It feels like a really long time ago now. It was almost 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago? Yeah. Right after I saw you guys last, he came, and it was a super short weekend. He flew in Saturday morning and left really early on Monday morning. But it was so much better than nothing. And we went out to Rüdesheim, which I showed some footage of last time because my roommate had this coupon she couldn't use. It was a Groupon, actually. I didn't know they had that in Europe. But it was a Groupon for a little cruise on the Rhine. And it was amazing. You will have seen some of the video in the beginning. It was so beautiful. It was kind of cold, but not unbearable to be outside on the boat because there are these vineyards and these like fall trees and castles, super old castles. And like the guy was like, this castle is from the 9th century. Or like, this castle's from the 12th century. And you're like, what? So we got to see these amazing castles on the Rhine, and then we went back to Rüdesheim and had some dinner there. And yeah, it was really great. The wine festival that I had been to was still going on, so we got another glass of wine there, which was nice. It was just really beautiful. But the rest of the time, it's just been rehearsing at the opera, getting ready for that, practicing a lot, doing some knitting, doing life. Nothing too mind-blowing to report, I don't think. But yeah, so anyway, I think that is our episode for today. Thank you guys so much for checking me out. And if you want to be alerted as to when I post my next episode, please go ahead and hit subscribe. Come and join us on the Ravelry group. Find me on Instagram, all that stuff if you want to. So anyway, I'll sign off for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!